Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for using my creator code whenever you purchase any Sims 4 DLC on the EA app or thesims.com. I receive a 5% commission each time you use my code, which means you're directly supporting me as a creator. I know there are a lot of codes floating around out there, so I am very grateful that you've chosen me to support in this way. Thank you so much. Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another apartment renovation. And we are actually renovating 19 Culpepper House, but this is another not so berry build. I have been doing a build and or apartment renovation for each generation of the Not So Berry challenge. And today, this is generation 7. This is the pink generation. Now, I did ask over on the post tab where I should build for that gen. And I got a lot of recommendations for Henford on Bagley, but let me provide my rationale for doing an apartment. So let me tell you a bit about this generation as we dive right into the living room here. So you grew up poor and you're living paycheck to paycheck, working in the business career just as your parents did. You long to write romance novels, but are too afraid to quit your steady job to follow your dreams. You're very practical and you know the chances of making it as a writer are slim, so you stay working at your 9 to 5. As an adult, you finally decide to pursue your dreams. You're a hopeless romantic, but your unflirty nature makes it nearly impossible to find love. So let's see, the traits are neat, unflirty, and creative. Aspiration is best-selling author, and then the career is business. They have to complete the postcard collection, master writing and wellness, complete the best-selling author aspiration, have a well-maintained garden, which is why a lot of people recommended Henford on Bagley. I can see that. And you have to quit your day job as an adult to pursue your dreams as a writer, is what I'm assuming. So I was thinking about Henford on Bagley because I was like, yeah, that would be great for having like a super big, well-maintained garden and everything. But that can happen later on, right? So I was trying to think like, where would this sim start out? And I thought that the city made sense. So I decided to build in the city because even though the business career isn't linked to like city living, the business career is just a base game career. I thought it made sense to have an apartment. Now I did give them a pretty nice apartment, to be fair. This is a really big apartment. And I absolutely love how I approached the interior decorating of this one. Let me just say that too. The living room is probably my favorite place. I can't even lie. I think it's my favorite space in the entire apartment. I put tons of books and bookcases throughout this apartment to really show that this sim, along with like writing, probably loves reading too. I feel like if you love writing, you also love reading. At least I do. I love both of those things. They go very much so hand in hand. And I used a lot of soft pink tones throughout this apartment, like soft pinks, some like grays and some sandy brown colors. Like the Desert Luxe couches and the curtains came in so clutch for this build. I absolutely loved it. And my dear friend Rachel Pett will appreciate this. I finally got to use that rug from For Rent that she always tries to use as well. Like we always talk about how we're desperate to use that rug, and every time we lay it down, we get rid of it. It just like doesn't work. But that rug from For Rent, I finally got to use it. But anyway, so since they're working a 9 to 5 in the business career, that just screamed the city to me. So I thought, let's go to Myshuno, we'll do that. But what apartment should we do? And I was thinking about the apartments that have balconies. And this is one of, I think, it might be one of at least 3 or 4. I don't really know. I don't build in like the giant apartments, like the Spire apartments or the Landgrab apartments or whatever. I've never set foot in those ever. But the only ones I can think of are where the karaoke legends live, or at least in that building, whatever that building is. There's a balcony there, like a double balcony, and then there's this one that has a balcony, because I was thinking about the well-maintained garden. Now, well-maintained garden doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be huge at all. It doesn't mean that it has to be out in the country somewhere. Again, I could see how Henford on Bagley would work great later on for like this really huge, lush, well-maintained garden. But I figured your sim can still have I'm going to say it again, well-maintained garden on the balcony of this apartment. So I put a couple of like gardening pots and whatnot out there. And I was thinking about the wellness skill. Now, if I was practicing yoga or something like that, being out on a balcony with like my plants and a light breeze and stuff, it just sounds very, very calming. So I put a yoga mat out on the balcony as well. That was my rationale for kind of this approach for the pink gen. I don't know if everybody's going to agree with it or not, but I really liked the outcome. And it made sense because the apartment's going to be cheaper overall for your sim as they're working their 9 to 5 paycheck to paycheck, right? And eventually, maybe when they make it as a best-selling author and those royalties really start to roll in, they can go move out in the countryside of Henford-on-Bagley or something, write their romance novels, and just have this huge, lush garden. Maybe on the Cordelia's Secret Cottage lot, the one by the waterfall. That's the one that I was thinking about building on as I was conceptualizing for the pink gen. So that was my thought. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, because I give these a lot of thought, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else is going to see the vision, Therefore, I always want to explain it. But this is the bedroom that I've talked almost all the way through. It's actually pretty small, but I loved putting those bookcases behind the bed. It doesn't necessarily hide the headboard, but I also added a couple of stacks of books by this chair. Again, just trying to reflect that I think this sim loves reading and writing a lot. Like, they spend probably every free moment reading books, just dreaming about the day that they can make it as a best-selling author and quit this darn 9 to 5 that they absolutely loathe. I don't know, maybe they don't loathe it. Maybe they're okay with it, but it's not their passion, obviously, right? They're just like, well, I gotta do what I gotta do, right? I need a job. I need to be able to afford life, but I also need to ensure that I dedicate the time to hone in on my writing skill and like get something done. Now, this is something that I did overlook though. Ooh, I will say this. I did kind of overlook this, I think. I didn't create an office space. That's something that I should have done. Why didn't I make an office? I'm sitting here being like, I give this a lot of thought. And then I didn't even give them an office. But what I did do is in the kitchen, I kind of made like this bar table right up against these big open windows that I have. And I added a laptop there because I was thinking, even though you might want an office as a writer, I think you probably want that. Something that you probably would also want is a laptop so you can bring your writing wherever you go. And therefore, when a thought pops into your brain, you can just bust out the laptop and start writing. When inspiration strikes, you have what you need to actually go ahead and capture that inspiration and reflect it in whatever you're working on at that time. So that's kind of a bummer though. No, actually, I'm kind of upset with myself. I am. I'm kind of upset with myself. I should have made this more of like a 2-bedroom, if you will, quote unquote, and turned that second bedroom into an office. That would have made sense. Well, you guys can, of course, adjust anything you like if you download my bills. So if you go ahead and download this and you're like, yeah, April, the sim needs an office. Like, what is actually wrong with you? You can go ahead and adjust and add an office if you would like to. But we are decorating the dining room right now. I added a ton more bookshelves squeezed in the corner there. And I really did put forth the effort to fill all of these empty spaces. I love these bookshelves from I think they're from the Crystal Creations kit, which seems odd to me, but I did fill them with books and other little knickknacks just so they didn't look too repetitive as well. And it wasn't too noticeable that there were just all these empty spaces. So I added like, little statues, a candle, some plants, some other things like that. I also loved using this artwork that's in the living room as well as the dining room from the Refined Living Room kit. I think it's stunning and I absolutely love it. I love the 3 different swatches that we have of this color scheme as well. And the chandelier from Life and Death. I love that chandelier, by the way. Life and Death actually came with a lot of really good build buy stuff. I don't know if I've mentioned that very often. I haven't done a lot of builds specific to Life and Death, like at all. I have one that's coming maybe in the next couple of months. I'm doing a lot of pre-recording right now, so I don't know exactly when it's going to be coming, but it's actually in Ravenwood, which I don't think thus far I've even built in. That's embarrassing. I haven't even built in Ravenwood, I don't think. Just once. Just once. Maybe I should work on that next. Anyway, we are working on the kitchen now as well, which is a little bit small maybe for an apartment this big, but I think it fit perfectly, especially for the sim that I had in mind. And like I said, I have those big open windows from the Greenhouse Haven kit, and it's so nice. I love doing that. I've done that one other time, I think, in this apartment before. I don't remember what I called that apartment. It's up on the channel somewhere, so if you're interested, you can look it up. But yeah, the Greenhouse Haven windows I almost called it the Greenhouse Haven stuff pack. I don't know why, like I can't keep these packs straight anymore. Anyway, they're beautiful. It lets in so much natural light when you have windows like that. And these windows, I don't think I used any of the open swatches for this one in particular, but you could absolutely do that if you wanted to. Now here is kind of the window bar seated area, because we have the formal dining area, but then this is kind of like a little breakfast table, I guess. And this is where I add the laptop, the little tray with an open book and the little coffee mug and stuff. I thought it was perfect. Like this is where the sim goes to maybe daydream about their future career as a best-selling author, and they jot down their thoughts and they brainstorm new romance novels and stuff like that while looking out over onto the balcony. Maybe, I don't remember if I put the gardening pots there, but that would have been smart because then they could look at like their blossoming garden and just feel inspired. I don't know, that was kind of the thought. But as you can see, I still carried through touches of pink here as well. And now we are just working on this balcony. There are the gardening plots that I've mentioned like 5 times. And then also the little yoga mat that I added out here. This would be perfect. I added a ton of plants. There's a little stereo as well. And I think I had an outside dining table too, but I'm not sure if I add a grill. I don't think I do. I just wanted the balcony to be kind of plainly decorated, honestly, because I wanted it to be a bit of a zen area. But that is pretty much it for this build. I hope you enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.